Be honest with yourself. How much stuff do you own that you never really use?
If you're like most people, probably quite a lot. Many of us experience stuffocation, or feeling suffocated by all the stuff we own, whether it be picking up unnecessary items at a weekend market or purchasing the newest gadget that ends up gathering dust.
This isn't as harmless as it seems. Continuously buying and hoarding things doesn't just clutter our homes, it also has a serious impact on our well-being. In fact, the amount of stuff we accumulate can be harmful to our health and happiness. For years, materialism and constant consumption have been seen as the keys to personal happiness and economic growth. But things are changing. More people worldwide are discovering alternative ways to live, moving beyond the relentless pursuit of more stuff. What do these new ways of living look like, and how can we create a world beyond materialism? Let's explore. In this extract, you'll learn why materialism's peak has passed and why it's time for a change. How experiences are becoming more valued, like paying £50 for a unique movie experience. How economies can still thrive without relying on endless consumption. Let's discover what life can be like when we let go of our attachment to things and embrace a future that's not defined by the stuff we own. Is your basement or spare room overflowing with unused items? Do you have drawers so crammed with junk that they won't open? If so, you're likely experiencing stuffocation, a modern problem where our possessions no longer bring us joy, but rather stress and clutter. For years, people believed that happiness was tied to how much they owned. But times have changed. Owning more stuff has lost its charm. Instead of joy, more now means more to organize and worry about. Materialism has become burdensome. Back in 1979, a whopping 80% of people in the UK, France, and Western Germany thought material possessions brought happiness. Today, that belief has dropped to about 50%. This shift shows that many of us are tired of being buried in things. So, why did we become obsessed with stuff in the first place? It goes back to our survival instincts, where gathering resources was crucial. However, in today's world of plenty, that mindset is outdated. We need to rethink our relationship with material things. Different experts have various takes on why we're moving away from materialism. Environmentalists argue that valuing experiences over possessions is better for the planet. Political scientists note that people today care more about freedoms and rights than just material goods. Economists point out that rising costs and stagnant wages are making it harder to spend on non-essentials, naturally steering us away from materialism. Regardless of who you ask, there's a clear trend. We're shifting towards a new form of happiness that values experiences over possessions. This change reflects a broader understanding that real fulfillment comes from what we do, not what we own. Ever feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of stuff you own? Or maybe you're stressed about not having the latest gadgets that everyone else seems to flaunt. It's not just you. This is a common experience in our consumer-driven society. British philosopher Jeremy Bentham sipping his morning coffee. He loved that first cup, but the second didn't quite hit the spot. We can all relate to that feeling of diminishing returns. Sometimes more isn't better. Today, we often fill our lives with material goods, hoping they'll bring us happiness and status. Our consumer culture has become almost like a new religion, promising satisfaction through possession. However, the mass production of goods has stripped them of their uniqueness, making them less exciting and meaningful. This relentless pursuit of more stuff has a dark side. It's closely tied to status anxiety and a spike in mental health issues. Since 1979, mental illness rates in developed countries have doubled, largely driven by the pressures of consumerism. All this accumulated stuff doesn't bring joy. Instead, it often leads to stress and depression. But the consequences of having too much stuff can go beyond mental health. They can be downright dangerous. Think of people who hoard things, filling their basements, attics, and garages with items they rarely use. Hoarding is more common than you might think, affecting between 2% and 6% of people in developed countries. This clutter can pose serious risks. In the event of a fire, for instance, the danger of a flashover, a sudden explosion of intense heat, becomes much greater. Studies from Melbourne show that 30 years ago, flashovers occurred 28 to 29 minutes after a fire started. Today, due to our increased clutter, they happen in just 3 to 4 minutes. So, while having things can be nice, it's essential to recognize when enough is enough. Sometimes, less truly is more, especially when it comes to our well-being and safety. Overconsumption and overproduction have always been closely intertwined. When demand skyrockets, supply has to keep up. This connection is vividly illustrated in U.S. history. After the Civil War, America's population tripled from 35 million to 114 million in just 60 years. Meanwhile, the production of goods surged 12 to 14 times. This huge disparity had to be addressed. Otherwise, drastic cuts in production would have been necessary, risking widespread unemployment or even economic collapse. In the 1920s, bridging this gap between production and consumption was a major challenge for the U.S. Some, like economist John Maynard Keynes and industrialist of the UK Kellogg, suggested reducing work hours to cut production and give people more leisure time. But others, such as President Herbert Hoover and General Motors CEO Alfred Sloan, had a different idea. They encouraged people to consume more. In the past, prosperity meant saving money and spending less. But now the push to spend more has created a cycle of more jobs, higher wages, and better benefits for everyone. After the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Iron Curtain, this materialistic model of prosperity spread across the globe. Throughout the 20th century, materialism and the belief that more consumption was the answer to overproduction became dominant. However, these same ideas have become the root causes of many of the 21st century's biggest problems. For example, much of today's climate change results from burning waste, which often consists of cheaply made, oil-based products designed for short-term use rather than lasting enjoyment. But we can change this. In the 1930s, the elite decided that consuming more was the solution. Today, we face a similar crossroads, but now more of us have a voice and can influence the direction we take. If you're feeling overwhelmed by too much stuff, what we call stuffocation, there are 3 ways you can lighten the load: minimalism, a simpler life, or embracing a concept called medium chill. Minimalism involves going through your belongings and getting rid of the majority of them. A practical tip is to put all your items in boxes for 21 days. Only retrieve what you actually need during this period. You'll be surprised at how many boxes remain untouched, proving how much you don't need. This minimalist approach not only reduces your environmental impact, but also means you won't have to work as much since you'll consume less. Living a simpler life takes things a step further. People choosing this path might move to the countryside and avoid most modern consumer goods, even those a minimalist might still use, like an iPad or a new car. Unlike minimalists, who might enjoy modern amenities while owning fewer things, individuals pursuing a simpler life lived with even less, focusing on basic necessities. It's a challenging lifestyle and often viewed as too difficult or boring by many, but it's an option for those who can handle the simplicity. David Roberts, an environmentalist, coined the phrase medium chill, which offers a balanced alternative. Imagine turning down a job promotion because you're content with your current life. You're okay letting others hustle ahead while you enjoy more free time and less stress. Medium chill isn't about rejecting material goods. It's about prioritizing time over work. It contrasts sharply with a big chill, where people work over 80 hours a week to retire early and then do nothing. In essence, these approaches, minimalism, simpler living, and medium chill, offer different ways to combat stuffocation, each with its own unique lifestyle adjustments and benefits. Choose the one that fits you best and enjoy a lighter, more fulfilling life. Should you use your bonus for a dream vacation or a new car? How about a concert ticket or a fancy outfit? These choices often boil down to the question, to do or to have. Well, let me make it easier for you. Having things isn't all it's cracked up to be. Back in 2003, psychologists Gilovich and Van Boven conducted a study where they asked people to reflect on past experiences and material purchases. They then gauged how happy these choices made them. The findings were clear. Experiences bring more joy and lasting happiness than buying stuff. The antidote to feeling overwhelmed by possessions is experientialism. This philosophy values experiences over things for several reasons. Even a not-so-great experience, like a camping trip in non-stop rain, can be remembered fondly later. Maybe that soggy trip was a chance for you and your family to bond. Experiences shape who we are more than possessions because they help us grow and learn. It's also harder to compare experiences than things. Sure, you can see which car costs more or whose gadget is better, but how do you compare a trip to Thailand with one to Provence? Each experience is unique and brings personal growth, regardless of how enjoyable it was at the moment. While experientialism might seem like a break from materialism, it's not about rejecting it entirely like the hippies did. It's more about moving beyond the pursuit of happiness through stuff. Experientialists are fine with enjoying what they need, but they don't equate their worth with what they own. So, experientialists live happily in mainstream society, balancing their appreciation for experiences with their use of material goods without being extreme about it. Experientialism, the philosophy of valuing experiences over material possessions, is gaining popularity worldwide. People love adventures like long trips, skydiving, savoring great food, and swimming in the ocean. This shift highlights a growing appreciation for experiences over mere ownership. However, experientialism isn't without its drawbacks. It can lead to a new kind of social pressure, status anxiety, where people feel stressed about missing out on experiences. Philosopher Alain de Botton points out that as we move away from valuing material possessions, we often face the fear of not having the right experiences. In the US and the UK, nearly 40% of people aged 18 to 34 feel this pressure. You can see the trend towards experiences everywhere, from the boom in live music and festivals to increased spending on travel and tourism. People are choosing to invest in experiences. Even the rise of ebooks reflects this shift as people prioritize the act of reading over owning physical books. This shift is also evident in how countries measure success. It's no longer just about GDP. Many nations now emphasize quality of life and well-being, as seen in indices like the Human Development Index and the Index of Economic Well-being. Experientialism's appeal is global. In rapidly industrializing nations like China, Vietnam, and Brazil, the new middle class is facing the challenges of materialism, resource scarcity, environmental issues, and status anxiety. As overconsumption grows, these countries are approaching a turning point where they might embrace experientialism as the new standard of luxury. In essence, as more people worldwide experience the downsides of materialism, they're recognizing the value of experiences as a more fulfilling and sustainable alternative to the clutter of possessions. Minimalism and simpler living might appeal to some, but they don't quite align with today's economic dynamics. However, experientialism fits perfectly. In the past, companies could rely on loud advertisements to sell products. Today, consumers seek status and experiences, which means brands must adapt to stay relevant. Our economy thrives on spending. In the UK, consumer spending makes up about 65% of the economy, and in the US, it's up to 70%. Reducing consumption could jeopardize jobs and traditional measures of prosperity. But experientialism isn't about cutting back on consumption. It's about a new type of consumption that focuses on experiences. Our economy is evolving into an experience economy. So what does an experience economy entail? It offers memorable and engaging experiences. Take London's Secret Cinema, for example. Here, watching a movie isn't just about the film itself. It's an event where the audience dresses up, and the staff plays roles that match the movie's theme, creating an immersive experience. People are willing to spend around £50 for this unique outing. The global economy is already leaning towards experientialism. To keep up with this trend, we must continue to innovate in how we sell services and products. Apple excels at creating such experiences. Buying an Apple product is more than just a purchase. It's about the entire experience. Apple stores were pioneers in allowing customers to try products hands-on, understanding that user experience is key. They could design the unboxing experience of new products like iPhones or MacBooks to be special. Other companies are also embracing this shift by eliminating unnecessary clutter. Puma, for example, has created shoe bags that dissolve in water in just 3 minutes. This not only reduces waste, but also offers a unique, memorable experience. By focusing on experiences, brands can connect with consumers in meaningful ways, ensuring they remain relevant in a changing economic landscape. As our world continues to drown in stuff, it's time for a change. We're bombarded with possessions, but are they really making us happy? Not so much. That's where the beauty of experiences comes in. I'm sure you felt it too. That thrill of a new adventure, the warmth of connecting with others, the joy of learning something new. Experiences, my friends, are the real currency of fulfilling existence. And guess what? They're not just good for our souls, they're good for the economy too. So, how can we make this shift from stuff to experiences? Well, let me break it down for you. First up, ask yourself, do you really need to own it? Next time you're eyeing that shiny new gadget, pause and consider if there's a way to access it without adding to your clutter. Maybe you can borrow it from a friend or find a resource-friendly alternative. And here's a game changer. Change the way you look at the price tag. Instead of seeing it as just a number, think about what else that money could bring into your life. That new phone might seem tempting, but imagine the memories you could create with the same amount on a holiday or by investing in a course that sparked your passion. It's time to prioritize experiences over things, my friends. Let's simplify our lives, declutter our minds, and embrace the richness of living in the moment. Together, we can make a world where the memories and connections we make instead of the things we own determine how happy we are. So go ahead and choose experiences. Your soul and the economy will thank you for it. And remember, the best things in life aren't things. They're experiences. Got feedback? We love to hear about our content. Just share your thoughts and book recommendations in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about the latest video. Thank you and have a great day.